not me who's supposed to pay. It's your family who's supposed to pay our wedding, and I'm supposed to take care of you when we are married.
In my culture, in my traditions, I have been raised to know that it is the man who is supposed to pay dowry for me and not the other way around. Hi, my name is Liz and my husband's name is Ati. Before we found each other, we had tried to look for love in our home countries and within our cultures and traditions because it's much easier. However, we couldn't find the love we were looking for within our home countries, and God decided to take us out of our comfort zone and blessed us with love, but a love from 1,000 miles away, a love with opposite and clashing cultures and traditions compared to what we are used to. Ati, my husband, comes from Hungary, and I come from a community in Kenya called Gusii. Despite both of us coming from two different communities with different and clashing traditions, we found a mutual way to learn and accommodate each other's cultures easily. However, there is one critical element of our cultures that was clashing, and it brought a lot of misunderstandings, confusion, and tension in our relationship and even within our families before we got married. That element of our culture that is conflicting is called dowry. As you have read from the title below, today we are going to talk about our dowry conflict as an interracial couple. By conflict, I don't mean that we fought or anything like that, but our culture, me and my husband's culture, they were clashing on this topic. Here in Africa, in many communities, it is the man who pays dowry for his bride. Like, this is something so normal in majority of communities in Africa. So before getting into this interracial relationship, I had heard rumors that in the Western culture it is the other way around. Like, it is us ladies who are supposed to pay dowry for our groom. For me, when I was getting into this interracial relationship, I really didn't consider about the dowry, because I knew, like, when I get a man who wants to marry me, obviously he's the one to pay my dowry and not the other way around. So it wasn't really a big of issue for me until the time we started discussing about dowry.
Hi guys, hope everyone is well. I'm going to talk about the dowry process in my country. So I'm from Hungary, from the east side of Hungary. Our tradition says, I was confirming from my mother and from my father as well, that we don't have dowry process. Usually the family of the bride is the one to cover the expenses of the wedding. And in my language, it's called hozomány. It's like what the girl brings with herself into the marriage. Yes, I think it's kinda. This is how I can explain. So hozomány is the brought goods what she puts in the marriage as an effort. So basically, it can be beddings, pots, pans, bed, a whole house, cows, horses, because we Hungarians, the Huns, we are horse rider nation, so we have horses, a lot of horses. So basically, it was the more wealthier a person, you can check by his yard. If you see on his yard at least one pair of horses, you need to know that person is rich. And I forgot something, guys. I wanted to tell you, if in case the parents, the family of the bride is not wealthy, obviously the family of the bridegroom is to cover the wedding, but this doesn't mean that we have dowry. In my country, in my culture, we don't have dowry. What we need to pay as men to the family of the woman. This is missing from our culture. So basically, guys, in my culture, after the brought goods coming on the table during the wedding process. After that, me as a man, I need to provide for the whole entire life for the lady. Previously, in the past, the ladies were staying at home. They didn't really work. They were staying at home, raising up children. Yes, while the man has gone to the fields or wherever he had his work. So basically in Hungary, this is changing day by day.
In my case, I come from a community in Kenya called Gusii community. So in my community, it is the guy who pays dowry. So the first step is to take the guy for introduction to your family, and during the introduction is just getting to know each other, and he has to tell your family his intentions with you. So after the introduction part is done, now the man goes back and plans for a day he will come for the dowry negotiations. And during this day, he will come with the father figures in his life. Usually it's the dad, the godfather, or the uncles, whoever the father figure in his life is. The dowry negotiations are usually handled by men only. No women are present in these negotiations. So from centuries back, from many years ago, the dowry was always in the form of livestock like cows, camels, goats, sheep, name them. But over time, that has already changed. And nowadays, dowry is usually in form of money. But during these dowry negotiations, the bride price is usually determined by the value of the girl. So by value, I mean, for example, in the modern day, the more educated the girl is, the more the dowry will be. The less educated you are, the less the dowry. After the dowry negotiations are successful and both parties come to an agreement, now they plan for a day that the man will bring the dowry, and it is usually a very big celebration. And by the way, guys, I have to mention that it is not usually a must for the guy to pay the dowry in full at once. They're still allowed to pay it in installments. Now, after the dowry is done, the dowry issue is done, now you are blessed and you are given a go ahead to plan your wedding and get married. So the reason why the man is the one who is responsible for paying dowry in my community is because we believe that we are giving away our daughter. We are giving our daughter to you. You are taking her into your family. She's no longer ours, This daughter is going to take care of you. She's going to take care of your home. She's going to give you children. So it is only fair that you pay the dowry.
Here's the thing, guys. I didn't know too much about the culture. Yes, after 1 year, she decided to take me home. Before we got there, we were talking about the dowry process. She told me how it's done in her culture if I want to get married with her. And I was shocked because I didn't know about it. Yeah, that time I didn't know anything about dowry. So when she was telling me that how the dowry process is done, that there is a dowry process, a process called dowry in her culture, I was shocked. I was like, man, it's not me who's supposed to pay. It's your family who's supposed to pay our wedding, and I'm supposed to take care of you when we are married. And I'm supposed to support and provide everything as a man, as a husband. That is how it's supposed to be. That was done before, back to the ages. Nowadays, women are working, so our culture modernized, so everyone is just working together as equal parties. But previously, like 50 years ago, 40, 50, 70, 100 years ago, the man was the one who was providing everything to the family, obviously after the wedding. But before the wedding, the family of the lady supposed to cover all the expenses of the wedding and moving into the new house, and etc. etc. So I was shocked. That was a new thing for me, and I was shocked.
So for me, guys, before getting married, I really wanted to respect our culture and our traditions, and I wanted to get family's blessings before getting into marriage. Before taking my then fiance to the village for introduction and the dowry negotiations, I had mentioned to him what to expect in the hot seat. And I told him that he will be required to pay my dowry before marrying me. And I saw the shock on his face. And the reason why he was shocked was because in his culture, it's totally the opposite. So he told me that in his culture, they don't have such a thing as a dowry. It is me and my family who are supposed to cater for all the wedding expenses, and my family should help me get household essentials like bed sheets, utensils, all the household essentials, which I will go with into his house, and then from then on, his responsibility will begin. To be honest with you guys, when he told me that, I was so shocked, because to me it sounded like me and my family are the ones who are supposed to pay dowry for him, and from where I come from, that is prohibited. It cannot be allowed, guys. It is supposed to be the other way around. So I got so stressed about it, and I didn't know how my family would react if they learned about this. I was even now starting to feel like my family will not allow me to get married to him because of these dowry issues, and I really, it was really stressing me out. Please don't get me wrong, guys, but in my culture, in my traditions, I have been raised to know that it is the man who is supposed to pay dowry for me and not the other way around. But as for the wedding expenses, we can share. If it is us, the couple, who are supposed to organize how we are going to do our wedding. So this one got me as a shock. I was so shocked, guys.
So next, my baby took me home. It wasn't a smooth journey, but finally we reached Kisi. We got a very warm welcome, and I didn't know what will wait for me. I supposed to go there and be present with my men, my uncles, my father, my grandfather. I wish they could make it to come with me, because not just because of the mandatory family process, or I would have felt comfortable, just because it is a big thing in the life of a man who is going to marry an African lady. The best option what we could do is to have a video call with my parents and my godfather, my best friend. So I represented my whole family. I introduced part of my family on a video call to my wife's family. When I was representing my family and myself, only on my own, on my behalf, me, myself and I, it was so difficult and very frustrating. I had to talk to my parents and ask for advice, because guys, this is a process, this is a thing what I never gone through, I never heard about, I never knew it's existing. So it was very frustrating when they were facing me with all that information. I remember I was sitting with them, we were talking, and they told me how their culture works, how it's supposed to be done in their culture, and all that stuff. And they added, I don't need to feel it's a forcement or something that I am buying out the lady from the family and they don't care about her anymore. This is not like that. This is a token of appreciation to those whom raised up her, whom really took care of her, and presenting in this form as I'm receiving her. So this is oh my God, I have so much so much to pay because this beautiful lady is the most beautiful, most awesome girl I ever met, ever seen. So, baby girl, your price, your value, it cannot be measured in human material things. Hope you know that. So guys, I just told you my reaction, and their reaction when I told them that I respect your culture, I understand your culture, I accept your culture, but we need to do an agreement because in my culture is the opposite. And everybody was like, huh? And I had to explain how it's done in my culture. And I had to add to that, I'm not going to disrespect anybody's culture, but I'm not going to lower or leave behind my culture. So we need to find a way, a common way, a mutual thing, which is benefiting for both families. So guys, I had to explain to them that I'm not going to leave behind my culture and I'm not going to disrespect their culture. So we had to find a mutual way which is benefiting for both parties. Then I told my parents how it's done in her country, her culture. They were like, what? No, they are wrong. They are the one who's supposed to pay the wedding and supposed to pay everything, and you need to provide afterwards. And I said, yeah, I know, but their culture is the opposite of us, opposite of ours. And they said, nah, it cannot be like that. I say, yes, we need to agree, we need to find a solution, how to agree. And they said, okay, because we cannot be present, you are the one to represent us. So I was well presenting my culture in front of a Kenyan family, in Kisii, in Kenya, in Africa, in another continent. So I can't share details at all, but what I can share, this difference, this opposite party, opposite side, caused difficulties in the dowry process. So in the end, the dowry negotiation was fair for both parties. That is why we were allowed to continue with our wedding process.
As much as we respect our cultures, we need also to respect other people's culture, because all cultures are equally beautiful and all cultures should be respected. So in a situation where you find yourselves that your cultures are conflicting, you need to sit down and find a way that you can integrate both of your cultures so that it can be fair for the both of you. And that is what happened in our case. And at the end of the negotiations, everyone was satisfied and happy. For those who are planning to get into interracial relationships, you should also consider this and explain to your partner how it happens in your culture so that they can be mentally prepared for that. All in all, guys, this is the beauty of being in an interracial relationship or being in a relationship where your cultures are not the same. I mean, it gets you out of your comfort zone. So for me personally, I'm looking forward to learn more about my husband's culture. I'd like to learn new things and get out of my comfort zone.
Apart from the dowry conflict, I'm open-minded and happy to learn more about my wife's culture. I don't know, by the way, if only in Hungary or all over Europe there is no dowry, but best of my knowledge there is no dowry in the whole Europe. If I know wrong, please guys, correct me, tell us more about your culture. We want to know, and which country, and yeah, we want to know everything, okay? Tell us in the comment section how it's done in your culture, in your country, in your religion. How it's done. please let us know, because we want to learn more about all the cultures over in the world. Just don't forget to be respectful towards each other, please. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for always liking, sharing, commenting, and always supporting us with so much love what we can read in the comment section. I know I'm supposed to answer to a lot of comments. I apologize for that. I'm busy doing another project and I really don't have time, but my wife is on my behalf who is going to answer all of your questions. Thank you guys. Thank you. See you later. Bye.